Vickers, and this is Tactical Arms. America's rifle. No doubt about it, the undisputed heavyweight champion holder of that title is the M4 carbine. It's the most popular rifle in this country today, and in fact has been the most popular rifle over the last 10 years or so. There's more optics, lights, lasers, magazines, ammo, buttstock, slings, you name it, made for this rifle than anything else. You can take it from mild to wild. And in fact, we had to do 2 episodes this year to just barely scratch the surface. Tell you what, clock's ticking, enough jaw-jacking. Let's head out to the range and get started. The M4 carbine, both in its full auto military and law enforcement mode and its semi-automatic civilian configuration, is the most popular rifle in the United States today. There's more manufacturers making it than any rifle in history. Now, over the course of this next half-hour episode, we're going to show you a test on just how rugged and reliable an M4 can be. In addition, we're going to take a plain Jane version and set it up with some of the best accessories on the market today. Zero it, camouflage it, and get ready for serious social use with the gun. Time to pay attention. Just may make a big difference in your life in the M4. Okay, we've heard about the legendary reliability of the AK. Now we're going to look at the M4 carbine. I contend that when properly lubricated and the dust cover shut when appropriate, this is a pretty damn reliable weapon. We're going to have a series of tests here to see if my theory is proven correct. The first one we're going to do is put the weapon in condition 3. That means empty chamber, loaded magazine in place, and of course we'll have the muzzle tape. We're going to put it down in our shallow grave, bury it. Okay, now's the time we want to thank one of our sponsors, Double Star, for kindly donating this gun to get torture test. Tells you they definitely have confidence in their products. All right, see, we got the gun completely buried. Everything goes right. It'll go bang. I'm going to bring it up, shake off the obvious sand, rack around in the chamber, and shoot. Okay, now the mud test. It's obvious why we're doing a sand test with our soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan. You might think a mud test is a little bit hokey. The reality of it is a lot of soldiers are working in jungle environments and river crossings, other areas where they're going to be in water and mud. So you need to have confidence in your weapon firing in those conditions. I have it condition 3, empty chamber, loaded magazine in place, muzzle taped, dust cover closed, and the weapon is lubed. Let's see how it goes. In the process, dust cover came open. Okay, now we got our swim test. Remember, we have soldiers all over the world, not just in the sand pile, and guys have to face water obstacles all the time. Okay, on this particular weapon system, the M4, it's important when you bring it out that you crack it and allow the gas system and the barrel to vent. You do not want to fire a weapon with water in the bore. It's incredibly dangerous. So, on that note, I'm going to bring the weapon back, hesitate, chamber, going hot. Okay, now the drop test. Now the test here simulates fast roping or soldiers being on top of a building or doing something along those lines where they have elevation and they accidentally drop their weapon. They need to have confidence it's going to go bang even from a height like this. Okay, once again, dust cover came open, no surprise. Notice the tape muzzle. That is key. I'm going to chamber around, going hot. Actually, what happened there is sometimes on drop tests, even with an empty chamber, there's enough momentum for the bolt carrier to come back and strip around the chamber. That's why you have to make sure you always have the weapon on mechanical safe. Okay, as we expected, the Double Star M4 came through with flying colors. This weapon will take care of you if you take care of it. It's designed to project on either side of the front sight post. As far as camouflage and guns go, this is the new hotness. This is a multi-cam M4 done by Freedom Graphics out in Oklahoma with a water transfer process. But remember, you can go back to the basics and do much of the same thing yourself in a field expedient mode with a few cans of spray paint. I'm going to talk you through it and show you how to get your gun ready for combat. You're thinking, what in the blue hell is LAV and all that crap doing on a white table in the middle of a road? Well, I'm going to tell you. We're at Drake's Landing, right outside of Littleton, North Carolina. What I'm doing here is I'm going to use some top-notch accessories on our infamous double star M4 that survived the torture test at U.S. Training Center with flying colors. And I'm going to take some of the pieces of kit that I really like, set the gun up, and no specialized tools or skills required, and it'll give you a first-class fighting carbine. Here we go. First thing, as always, got to clear the weapon. Magazine out. Check the chamber. Weapon's empty. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is the easiest. I'm going to swap out the buttstock. Pull down on your release, all the way out. Buttstock comes off. Now, I have Veltor iMod. This is the latest and greatest from Veltor, and it's currently my favorite buttstock. Really good piece of kit. It goes on exactly the same way. All right, now, next thing, we're going to go ahead and ditch the carrying handle. Great if you're running iron sights, but we're going to be running an optic. Now, while I've got it, lock the bolt to the rear. I'm going to take my Daniel Defense fixed rear sight. Day 1.5, really good piece of kit. Currently my favorite fixed rear sight. This goes on from the rear, so you have to take the screw out. And we'll slide it on to that rearmost notch position. That's where it's going to get bolted down to. Before I do it though, I'm going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on the screw. I want to make sure I cinch it down good and snug. All right. Aim point. Great piece of kit. Best red dot sights on the market, in my opinion. LaRue M68 aim point mount. Now, the key thing about LaRue mounts are you open the throw lever up all the way, and when it comes on, you throw that lever down, it needs to cinch into place like this one did, real snug, then you push the lever closed. That's really all there is to it. Now, I'd already mounted the aim point to the ring. Now, the key thing here is you want to tighten the bottom screws first. Use Loctite, tighten them first, and then you'll have the clamshell effect. Another thing about mounting an aim point like this old Comp M3, it's not an issue with the newer ones like the Micro and the Comp M4. You want to make sure the elevation and windage adjustment are exactly at 12 o'clock and or 3 or 9 o'clock. Daniel Defense Omega Rail, 7-inch, free floats. User installed, best selling rail Daniel Defense makes. Good piece of kit, replaces the standard handguards. Go ahead and take my aim point back off to clear it. Handguards go bye-bye. Now's the time, before you mount this puppy, clean this off down underneath here, because once that rail's in place and tightened down, you're not going to be able to get in and clean the barrel like this. Now, rail goes in, real simple piece of kit, comes in 2 halves, top and bottom. Okay, that's all there is to it to get it in initially. Now I'm ready to screw it together, and I'll have to tighten down my Allen screws. But it pops in place real good, top continuous rail. Okay, good to go. Gun's starting to look kick-ass. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put my aim point back on in my front position. Although this continuous rail does allow you to bridge the gap between the receiver and the handguard system if you need to, but as a general rule, it's considered not ideal to do so. If possible, have your scope rings either on the receiver or on your handguard, but not both. Let's move on to the laser. In my opinion, best place for a laser like this to go is the 12 o'clock position. It's designed to project on either side of the front sight post. We want to cinch it down and kind of get a location locked in before we camouflage it, but if we want to move the laser after a little bit, we can do so. I don't have the extended rail that I like with other guns. Remember, this is a real simple bolt-together project without special tools, so I have to live with this shorter rail. Because of that, I'm probably going to take my X300 and mount it on this side. I shoot a long gun left-handed. This, I think, will allow me to actuate the switch on the X300 better. Daniel Defense vertical pistol grip. If I had a hammer and a punch, I'd get rid of the front sling swivel, but I don't have that. so I'm just going to live with what I got. Now I need to figure out where I want to put this tape switch for the IR laser. I have a couple options. I can put it on the rail and hit it with one of my fingers. I can also put it down on my vertical pistol grip. You got to be careful though to have it in a position where if you clench your hand all the way closed, you can activate it, but you can also release your hand slightly, control the weapon during recoil, but not accidentally activate your IR laser. So that means placement can be tricky of the tape switch. I'm going to take these flex ties, and when you cinch it, you want to also cinch on the very ends. The middle is where the laser is activated. The ends are the dead spots where you can cinch it down and keep from activating the laser. Okay, we got the laser set up. Now I'm going to cinch this. I've kind of figured out my sweet spot. What I'm going to do is take this long flex tie and kind of cinch down the cable right in this area here to keep it in position. Okay, position of the laser is good to go. Now, the tape switches generally come with a Velcro piece that's sticky on one side, and you can kind of stick it and place it where you want to be. It's a good backup to the flex tie, but it should not be used alone. I've seen many of those come off or get bumped off or ground off when you're crawling on the ground, so that's something you use in addition to the flex tie. Now it's time to put on my favorite part, the sling. Okay, topic, switching shoulders with your carbine. Range, U.S. Training Center. Weapon, Daniel Defense M4 carbine, my personal weapon. Now, here's where this applies. If you have to go from one side of cover to the other and you want to minimize exposure to the enemy, it takes a little bit of time to go through the procedure. You need to make sure you have the time and the space to do it. But it is a tool you need in your tool bag. The way I like to do it is real simple. Once I engage the enemy, I make sure I put the weapon on mechanical safe. Then I anchor my buttstock. I run out all my slack in my Vickers Blue Force gear sling. At this point, I grab the weapon in front of the mag well. I take my arm out of the sling, and now I turn into a neck loop. And now I'm going to switch my hands and switch my feet while I pull this slack. As I come around, now I'm ready to come back up on target, engage the enemy. That's the procedure. Now, do your homework, figure out which sling is going to work best for you, and go out and practice. See you at the range. Okay, we got our gun set up. Now it's time to put on my favorite part, the sling. Okay, the sling, of course, is my signature sling made exclusively by Blue Force Gear. The Vickers Combat Application Sling. Now I picked one in Coyote Brown. It's available in a wide variety of colors. One thing I want to talk about is your little quick detach here. It comes mounted on the tail of the sling. You can also mount it to the front, or if you don't want a quick detach at all, you can take it off, which is how I roll. Okay, once you have that and set that aside, you will need this other tri-glide off the tail. Okay, as far as attaching the sling to the iMod Veltor buttstock, it's a piece of cake. You've got a slot right here that I use. You also have a slot up top. So you got many options. You also have a QD swivel attachment point. The only thing I don't like about it, it doesn't have limited travel. That means the swivel can spin 360 and it turns the rear of your sling into a pretzel. That's not good, so I use one of the slots. What you have to figure out is how you're going to attach the sling up front. You got many different options. On the Daniel Defense Omega rail here,